Have you ever wondered what it's like to live in a place where even your thoughts aren't your own? Where smiling is mandatory, but happiness is forbidden? Where loving your family means risking their lives? Most of us complain about our problems, about our jobs, about our freedoms. But we forget, some people don't even have the freedom to complain. This is my story. My name is Jin. And I grew up in a country most people only see in news headlines. A country where survival isn't about living. It's about not dying. This is what life in North Korea taught me. And this is how I lost everything to gain my freedom. I was born in a small mining town in the northern mountains. A place where coal dust covered everything. Your clothes, your skin, even your dreams turned black in that place. My father was a coal miner. My mother worked in the distribution center, counting rations. We weren't rich. We weren't poor. We were surviving. That's the word people use there. Not living. Surviving. When I was 8, my teacher asked our class a question. Who is the most important person in your life? I raised my hand. Confident. Honest. My father, I said. He works hard for our family. The classroom went silent. My teacher's face turned cold. Angry. Wrong answer, Jin. The correct answer is our supreme leader. He is our father. Our provider. Our everything. I learned that day that even love has rules. Even your heart must obey. Growing up in North Korea is like living in a beautiful cage. From the outside, people see the military parades, the organized masses, the monuments of strength. But inside, we're starving. Not just for food. For truth. For choice. For air that doesn't taste like fear. Every morning before school, we bow to the portraits on our wall. The supreme leader and his father and grandfather. Their faces watched us eat. Watched us sleep. Watched us exist. If you didn't have their portraits, or if they got damaged, you could be reported. Arrested. Your whole family punished. My neighbor's family disappeared once. Just gone. Mr. Park and his wife and their 2 sons. One day they were there. The next morning, their apartment was sealed. We never spoke about them again. Because asking questions was dangerous. Remembering was dangerous. When I was 13, the famine came. We called it the Arduous March. Such a gentle name for something that killed millions. I watched my little brother grow weaker and weaker. His stomach swelled from hunger. His legs became like sticks. My mother gave him her portions of corn. Said she'd already eaten. But we knew. We all knew she was lying. One winter morning, my brother didn't wake up. He was only 9 years old. We couldn't cry too loudly. Grief was suspicious. It meant you valued your family more than the state. So we buried him in the frozen ground. Quietly. Quickly. And we moved on. Because that's what you do. You survive. My father started taking extra shifts in the mines. 16 hours underground. Sometimes 20. He'd come home covered in black dust, coughing blood into his sleeve. But he never complained. Complaining meant you were ungrateful. Ungrateful meant you were a traitor. One night, he came home with fresh bruises across his back. What happened? I asked. He smiled. That fake smile we all learn to wear. Nothing, son. Just an accident with the equipment. But I knew better. The foreman had beaten him for not meeting his quota. Or maybe for looking tired. Or maybe for no reason at all. Power in North Korea doesn't need justification. When I turned 17, I was assigned to work in the same mine as my father. We worked side by side in tunnels so narrow you had to crawl. The air was thick with dust. The darkness was complete. Every day, men died in cave-ins. Every day, we pretended it was normal. My friend Sung-ho lost his leg when a support beam collapsed. They didn't take him to a hospital. They just sent him home. Told him he was no longer useful. At 19 years old, his life was over. The mine had a radio in the break room. It only played one station. State propaganda. Songs praising our supreme leader. News about our military victories. Stories about how the rest of the world envied our perfect society. But sometimes, late at night when the supervisors left, someone would whisper about the outside world. About South Korea. About China. About places where people could choose their own work. Leave their hometowns. Speak freely. I thought they were crazy. I thought nowhere could be that different. How could people just decide their own lives? Travel without permission? Say what they think without fear? It seemed impossible. Like a fantasy from another universe. Everything changed the night they came for my father. They arrived at dawn. 4 men in military uniforms. They didn't knock. They kicked the door open. My mother screamed. I jumped from my sleeping mat, heart pounding. Comrade Park Jin-soo, one of them said coldly. You are under arrest for crimes against the state. My father had been caught with a Chinese radio. Someone had reported him. A co-worker. A neighbor. Maybe someone from our own building. You never know who's listening. Who's watching. Who's willing to destroy you to save themselves. My mother fell to her knees, begging. Please, he has a family. He's a loyal worker. Please, there must be a mistake. They shoved her aside. Hard. She hit the wall and crumpled to the floor. I moved forward, rage blinding me. But my father caught my eyes. He shook his head. A tiny movement. A warning. Don't. They'll take you too. And then he was gone. We never saw him again. Never learned where they took him. Whether he was alive or dead. Whether he thought about us in whatever darkness they'd thrown him into. After that, everything fell apart. Without my father's work card, we lost our rations. My mother aged 20 years in 2 months. Her hair turned gray. Her face became hollow. She stopped talking about tomorrow. Because we didn't have one anymore. One night, she grabbed my shoulders. Her hands were shaking. Jin, listen to me carefully. I saw something in her eyes I'd never seen before. Desperation mixed with determination. There's a man who helps people cross into China. It's dangerous. Most don't make it. But she couldn't continue. Tears ran down her weathered face. I want you to go. To escape. What? No. Mama, I can't leave you. You must. Her voice cracked. Your father is gone. Your brother is gone. I'm old and weak. But you're young and strong. You can survive out there. You can have a real life. I won't leave you here alone. She touched my face. The way she used to when I was a child. If you stay, you'll die in those mines. Just like your father. Just like every man in this cursed place. I didn't survive losing 2 sons just to watch you disappear too. I wanted to refuse. To stay. To protect her. But I saw the truth in her eyes. Staying meant we'd both die. Leaving meant maybe, possibly, one of us could live. 2 weeks later, I stood at the frozen edge of the Tumen River. It was February. The coldest month. The ice was thick but unstable. One wrong step and I'd fall through. Drown. Freeze. Die within sight of freedom. The smuggler pulled me close, his breath visible in the darkness. If you fall, I leave you. If you slow down, I leave you. If you make noise, we're both dead. Understand? I nodded. And then I ran. Across that river of ice. Every footfall sounded like thunder. Every crack beneath my feet felt like the end. My lungs burned. My legs screamed. But I didn't stop. Couldn't stop. When I reached the Chinese side, I collapsed into the snow. Gasping. Shaking. Alive. I was out. I was free. But I'd left my mother behind. And that knowledge cut deeper than any cold ever could. Freedom isn't what I imagined it would be. I made it to South Korea eventually. Through China, where I hid for months. Through Thailand, through countries I'd never heard of. It took 3 years. 3 years of running. Hiding. Working illegally. Pretending to be Chinese. Living in constant fear of being caught and sent back. Now I live in Seoul. I have a small apartment. A job at a factory. Not a coal mine. A real factory with safety equipment and breaks and wages. I can buy food whenever I'm hungry. I can walk outside without permission. I can say what I think without looking over my shoulder. But every single night, I think about my mother. About whether she's still alive. Whether she has food. Whether she ever got the money I tried to send through a broker. Whether she thinks I forgot about her. I didn't forget. I could never forget. People here ask me sometimes, "You must be so happy now. You're free." And I don't know how to explain it to them. How do you tell someone that freedom tastes like betrayal? That every meal I eat, I wonder if my mother is eating. That every warm night, I imagine her in that freezing apartment. That I escaped, but my heart is still trapped in that mining town in the mountains. I'm free. But the people I love are still in chains. This is what life in North Korea taught me. That freedom isn't free. That love sometimes means leaving. That surviving and living are not the same thing. And that some prisons aren't made of walls. They're made of fear. Of lies. Of silence. There are still millions of people there. In that hidden country. They wake up every morning and bow to portraits. They work until their bodies break. They smile when ordered. They believe what they are told to believe. Not because they are weak, but because they have no choice. I share my story not for sympathy, not for attention, but so people remember, so people understand, that right now, at this very moment, there are men and women and children who would give anything for the freedoms we complain about. So the next time you're frustrated with your life, I'm not saying you shouldn't be. Your problems are real. Your struggles matter. But maybe, just for a moment, pause. And be grateful. For the job you can quit. For the words you can speak. For the life you can choose. Because millions of people will never have that choice. My name is Jin. I escaped hell. But I left my soul behind. And I would give anything to go back and save it. If this story touched your heart, please share it. Not for me, but for the people still trapped in that darkness. The ones who have no voice. No freedom. No hope. Every share, every comment, every moment you take to think about them, it matters. It keeps their stories alive. It reminds the world that they exist. And maybe, just maybe, if enough people remember, something will change. If you or someone you know has a story that needs to be told, leave a comment below. Your voice matters. Your truth matters. Until next time, remember this: the freedom to choose your own path is not a right. It's a gift. Don't waste it. Don't take it for granted. Live the life that millions can only dream of. Thank you for listening.